Hi, I'm Lydia, lead writer of the Stormlight RPG. Today I'm going to be sharing a little bit about myself as a game designer and writer, about my role on the team, and some narrative goals that we have for the game. When I'm working on games, I really love to focus on player choice and make sure that players have as many options to support the kind of stories that they'd like to tell. My favorite type of mechanics are when we have simple rules with complex interactions. In doing so, we are able to have beginning rules that feel a little bit more accessible to new players, and then as they progress, they're able to kind of add more nuance into their character and add more complexity and crunch when it feels right to them. As someone from marginalized backgrounds, I feel it's really important to make sure that games are safe for everybody to engage in and they have the safety tools that they need to modify the game to fit their needs. I joined the Stormlight RPG team in February 2023. I first started as a world guide writer and really enjoyed that process. In the summertime, I was promoted to a core design team member, which was really exciting to get to work on the mechanics as well as the narrative. And then in fall of 2023, I was promoted to lead writer, which was just a dream come true. In writing for this game, I had a few specific goals. The first of which was making sure to capture the feeling of adventuring on Roshar. I wanted GMs and players to make sure that they could have the best experience possible and really feel like they were immersed in the setting. One thing I kept in mind was that we had to keep lore accessible. These books are pretty big, and the world of Roshar is quite expansive. We needed to make sure that we could give GMs and players the feeling of being immersed in the setting and not rely on what they remembered from the books. To do this, we included a lot of narrative tips and good information in the handbook, and the real support for this is the world guide, which highlights so many amazing parts of Roshar, whether it's the nations and cultures in them, or points of interest that you can go and explore, and there's a lot of gameplay support there. We really made sure that you have the tools that you need to feel like you are truly on Roshar. We wanted to make sure that this is a game that you could play with friends who might not have even read any of the books or know very little about the Cosmere in general. No matter your familiarity level with Roshar, there's plenty in the handbook and world guide to give you everything that you need to start adventuring. One thing that was really important to me was making sure that we conveyed cultures with sincerity and focused on presenting these cultures through the eyes of people in them rather than the eyes of outsiders. In writing, one of the most important things for me was to make sure that singers are represented respectfully. To do this, I worked with our lead editor, Laura, to make a document that all of our writers could use with best practices when writing about singers. We wanted to make sure there was plenty of support for singer-player characters, and we also wanted to make sure that all of our writing encouraged players to interact respectfully with singers when they came across them in-game. Probably the coolest part of my job was being able to go to Dragonsteel headquarters and attend narrative meetings. In these meetings, I got to ask Brandon Sanderson lots of questions about the lore of his worlds and make sure we had everything we needed for a robust world guide. I got to ask fun questions like, where does sea silk come from? And what are the exact terms of employment for an Azish Imperial Shardblade? At these meetings, we had Brandon Sanderson, Dan Wells, and Isaac Stewart. It was an incredible experience to witness their process as creatives and see the way that they talked through different ideas. Of course, working so closely with Dragonsteel meant that our team had secret information that we had to be very careful with. Being privy to secret information means that we are very careful as a team to make sure that the information doesn't get distributed beyond the people who need to know about it, and we're also very careful about how we store everything. At the end of our writing process, everything goes back to Brandon and his team to make sure that we have implemented all of the lore he shared with us properly. By the time this video goes up, you will know that we have also been working on the Mistborn role-playing game. This has been a hard secret to keep because it's been a huge part of our workflow for the past 8 months. Most recently on Mistborn, I've been working a lot on designing the heroic paths with Max Brook and going through various iterations of them. It's really interesting for us to think about what characters without superpowers do in a world where superpowers exist. We always want to make sure that their contributions feel really exciting and interesting as well. I've also been working on designing some of the metallic arts, although I generally work on the heroic paths a little bit more, and we're going to keep the metallic arts a little bit hush-hush for now. Of course, for Mistborn, we are also going to have a world guide, and it's been really exciting to dive in and learn more about the people and the cultures on Scadrial. Last but not least, I'd like to share a little souvenir I have from working on this project. This is a very early prototype of the plot die that my friend Dan gave me. It's been really incredible over the past year and a half to see how far this game has come and to see how everybody on the team has contributed to make it the best that it can be. We're really excited for you to dive into the Cosmere RPG and hope that you love exploring these worlds as much as we've enjoyed writing in them. On behalf of everybody on the Cosmere RPG team, thank you so much for your support. Please like and subscribe so we can share more details as they're available. Thank you.